Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with jazz singer, pianist, and composer Vidya Sundberg. We caught up with her from Stockholm, Sweden to talk about her new 2024 CD called Adi Shakti, A Life in Music and Beyond. On her third studio album, she is building on the sentiment of her second album by drawing on her experience of having searched for, found, then lost her biological Indian mother, followed by the death of her adopted Swedish mother in 2022. She developed her musical prowess at the University of Gothenburg, eventually cultivating a unique style that the respected publication Him described as genre-free. We cover her story in full. Enjoy. Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, it's morning at your place.
Oh yeah, you're what time are you at right now?
I have 3:30 p.m.
Okay. Well, I love the future, so I get the chance to see into the future.
Oh yeah, that's and I get to see in the back, like
that's right. You get to go back to the future. Where exactly are you located?
I'm located in Gävle. It's 20 kilometers north up the coast from Stockholm.
Thank you so much for taking a minute out for Neon Jazz. It's great to meet you.
Great to meet you too. I'm so happy to be joining you today.
Yeah, it's great to have you on the show. I want to begin our conversation before we get into your brand new album by asking you, 4 years ago, we were looking at this pandemic, and it all happened differently around the world. But I'm curious, as an artist, how did you make it through that time period, and how did it change you?
The thing was that was 2020, and I just gotten over the loss of my gotten a little, unstable ground from the loss of my biological mother. So I was pretty okay with things canceling around me, so I could just rest for a while, actually. So I think it was a good time to catch up for me. And we started to make the last album, the Papillon album, and finishing that. I started to record it and, just doing that. So that was what I was doing.
So this new album, Adi Shakti, is this kind of a part of going through the pandemic? Talk to me about this album and how it was created.
Well, the Adi Shakti is like a continuum of the album before, the Papillon album, because as I said, I lost my biological mother, and I made this record during the pandemic, the Papillon record, and then I released that 2022, and just some months after, maybe it was 2 or 3 months after I released the Papillon, my mother in Sweden, who I call my mother, obviously, she passed away. So she was sick for like 8-9 months, and then she passed away. So the day, I think it was only a couple of days after she passed away, this Rumi poem came up in me, and I had that Rumi poem with me for since my 20s, something like that. And suddenly it popped up again, and it speaks about, it goes it's the short version is, out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field, I'll meet you there. And when my Swedish mother, my mother died, that popped up inside of me, and I felt a really strong feeling that, okay, this is the place, because I've always been curious about that place, that field. And now it was time for me to investigate and start to make music out of that space. So that's how Adi Shakti came about. Yeah.
So ultimately, what are you hoping the listener gets from this? What do you want them to take from this project?
Well, actually, exactly what I said. I found this space through this poem, and also later the mantra Adi Shakti. It came to me, and both of them are about finding a place where you can relate to yourself, the world, and everything around you from a different angle, without having to be tense or strive, just be free. So what I want with this album is definitely to communicate that space and see if there's um, other people in the world who can feel that space is possible for anyone. And I just, want to introduce that space.
So, talk to me a little bit about your journey into the music. Take me back to where you were born and raised and how music and more specifically jazz became a part of your world now.
Mm-hmm. I am born in India and I grew up here in Sweden. I was adopted to Sweden. And my father here in Sweden, he is a musician. And well, I grew up, he was sitting while with his guitar, at the breakfast table, at the lunch table, dinner table, like playing all the time. We were always singing and doing that. So it was a very fun environment to grow up in when you like music. And I listened to a lot of both Swedish and Danish musicians. And yeah, just standing in front of the mirror and singing, doing all those things when I was younger. And also quite early, I started to write songs. In the beginning, uh, we went a lot to Denmark for different reasons with my family, and that language is quite difficult for a Swede to understand. So I sat by the tape recorder and tried to hear what they were singing, and I wrote it down as I heard it when I was like 7 years old, and was very interested about sounds, uh, how things sounded, and that kind of kept my interest continuously all the time. And then when I went to jumping ahead a little bit, when I went to high school, I think it is gymnasium, high school, I got to try to improvise on a jazz tune. It was a teacher who came to the school, and it was a music school I went to, and they were introducing jazz to us in a way. And she showed me the song "All of Me." I mean, she showed the whole class the song "All of Me," and then she showed how to improvise over that. And she asked, "Does anyone want to try?" And I was, my hand just flew up in the air, and I was like, "I want to try." And then I just did a scat solo from I don't know where, but it was like many notes, really fast. And I thought it was so liberating. It was just so liberating for me to go into that and just sing whatever I want, however I wanted to sing. No questions. Nobody said what I was going to do or how it should sound. I just did what I wanted to do. And from that moment on, I was hooked with the jazz. So the year after, I was finishing high school, and I was going to go to this. In Sweden, we have this called folk high school. So you study more before going to university. And I went to 4 years to folk high school, only improvising and doing jazz. And first it started with like the style was like soul, and because I liked soul when I was in my yeah in I liked soul when I was younger, and so it became like soul jazz. But then after a while, I went into more like free jazz. So I did that a lot, and I loved that because it was just completely free and so many options, and I could just, I just wanted to feel the feeling of liberation.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. What was the first live show, whether jazz or otherwise, that you saw that really inspired you or blew you away or made you think, I want to be up on that stage. That's what I want to do with my life?
Oh, okay. Well, I have two answers for that. One when I was very young, and I went to a musical. It was a local musical. I think I was maybe 7 or 6 years old, and it was just a local thing, and they were singing and dancing, and that blew me away completely, as you said. And I I bought the tape from that. They sold the tape to that musical, and I quickly learned all the songs, all the dialogues, everything was on this tape. And then I teached it. I just showed my class and said, "We're going to do this musical." My whole class, and then I, you're going to play this part, you're going to play this part, I did this, and I directed the whole thing, and then I just, made the whole class do that. And I don't know why everyone suggested that, but they did. So that was one of the times I really felt like I want to be on stage. And then the one time I really, really also feel is a really, really good memory, like I cherish it a lot, is when the first time I saw Michael Jackson, because my father was working as a photographer also, and he was in this, I think it's called dark room, right?
Yeah.
And while we were waiting for him, because he was working at a magazine and he was in the dark room, and while we were waiting for him, me and my sister, he put on MTV, and I think I was 10 then, 10 years old. And he said, "Oh, you have to sit here because a video is gonna come on, and I think you're gonna like it," he said. And then he said, "Oh no, it's coming." And then it was Michael Jackson's "Smooth Criminal," and my jaw just dropped, and I felt a huge connection with Michael Jackson, and felt like that's me. I'm him. We are the same. I feel the same. The energy he has is what I'm having. That's what I want, and that's who I am. So I totally became a crazy Michael Jackson fan from then, and still are.
The first concert that I ever really saw was
Uh-huh.
the Jackson 5 back in the 80s. They came to one of our stadiums here.
Oh, you're kidding me. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, it was wild. It was when
Oh,
he had the rhinestone gloves, so I think he was
yeah.
about 30 to 45 minutes late, but he came out of a hole in the ground in the middle of the stage with that glove, and it was just glittering all around the stadium, and everybody lost it.
Oh my God. And I'm talking to you now. I'm so satisfied. Oh my God. I actually went to, also when I was 15, Michael Jackson came to Sweden. He had been here before, but then I was too young to go. But then I went to Stockholm Stadium, and it's a track and field place. And I was 15. They dropped me off with my friend, and I was determined. I didn't know it was going to be so much people. I thought I and Michael had such a close connection. So I didn't really understand that there was going to be thousands of people. So when I came into the arena, everyone was sitting on the ground and it was full. And I was thinking, no, I have to be in the front. So maybe it was 7 hours. I was sitting there to wait for the concert to start, and I slowly moved my way forward. Like, can you move that back? Can you move that? And just put myself down on every other place in the arena. And suddenly, I was at the front, at the very, very front. So I had this. What do you say? This. I don't know what it's called. It's a fence, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the fence on my stomach, and I was standing there, and then Michael came, and I will never forget that. I just started to cry, and then I cried the whole
Yeah.
concert. I was 15, you have to remember, and then, there was also a guard coming, approaching me, putting his hand on my cheek, on my chin. I mean, on my chin, and he said, "Please, can you stop crying?"
Oh
Because
no.
I felt so sorry for me, and I was just blown away by everything. And then it's ended a little bit abrupt, because just for a while in the very end, I was thinking, I just have to rest a little bit. So I just leaned towards all the people, and then someone dragged me up from the crowd because they thought I was passing out, which I didn't. So
Oh.
then I had to run back to the arena and saw him flew out in this space suit. And then I got a bruise on my chest for it. I was like, I can't breathe when I went home, and I pulled up my shirt, and there was a bruise there
Oh
from the
wow. Yeah, that's
fall.
wild.
That's wild when you're 15. I would
Yeah.
never, I have a 12-year-old son. I would not let him go to that kind of concert.
Yeah. No. That's a pretty big deal. Yeah, times were different then, for sure.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah. So let me ask you this.
Mm.
What do you like the best about being a professional musician? You've been at it for a while. What do you look forward to the most?
I mean, what I like most is to compose, and I mean, I love that. I love to compose, and my way of composing is I always find like a vibration from inside, and that comes out like a, in my singing, and then I can sit by the piano or just, with my voice only, and elaborate with that and find a good resonance. And I don't only mean resonance, so it sounds good, more like how it feels. There's a process going on, and when the note is resonating with the process, kind of, I don't know if you understand what I mean, then I can stay on that place and sing for a very long time and play chords. And I love that part of being a musician. And since the process of that is also, I mean, as a person always develop, at least I feel I do, there's many processes to sing from and make music from. So that I look forward to see how my life develops and what is next to come. That's a big part, because that I can do on basis. Be a musician on a daily basis is really fun. It's really rewarding for me. Just waking up and singing. I love that. And then I of course like to play with other musicians and improvise, even if my songs can be like pop jazz and doesn't have to be like free jazz, but just to feel the connection and find that vibration with other people. That's a wonderful thing. And actually we spoke about this, the band I'm playing with on Adi Shakti. We talked about this just some days ago. I was talking about how I use my vibration from within coming out of my, with my air and my voice, and how they use it. And then the bass player said that he puts his knee towards the acoustic bass sometimes to feel the vibration. So it was a great conversation, and things like that is what I'm looking forward to talk to people, to play with people, to feel other musicians' energy, to build from that, make songs from that, and to share that. Because for me, that's love. That's coming from within, and to share that. It's like a huge meditation, kind of,
For sure.
to make it. Yeah, right. I'm glad you agree. And it's so nice when you share that with people on stage. I mean, to be on stage and share that, it's a wonderful thing. And I actually had, I mean, I love to be on stage. I always loved that. But also, I think that maybe I had some concern before when I was younger about like, oh, do I want to stand here on the stage? I mean, do I want to be in the spotlight like that? It's a little bit of in Sweden we have something called jantelagen. It's not a law, but it's like you cannot say you're better than anyone else, something like that. That's typical Swedish. And even I'm Indian in my origin. I grew up here, so I have that also a little bit. But I know now that I need to be on stage, because that's where I can share my love, my person, the best.
So
that's how I feel, and I don't want to skip that.
Yeah, for sure. So at the end of the day, why do you love jazz?
Because it's free. You can do whatever you want. That's at least my opinion of it. But I know also, we had this talk with my musicians the other day. There are many musicians, jazz musicians, who plays or seem to play as they think they should play. And that's not jazz to me. But I know there are, what do you say, guidelines of how to play tunes and how to play a solo and, stuff like that. But in the end, it's all about being free, for me at least. And any music that sounds free and are free is, to me, similar with jazz. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I certainly do. So at the end of the day, you're the one that's making and putting this music out. Everyone has a perception of you. They have an idea of who they think you are. Your family, your friends, your fans, but you're the one that's in control. Who do you think you are? What's your perception of you?
That's a really, really good question. I think that I don't really know who I am. I want to know some days who I am, and I try to stick with some things. But it's the more I do music, and the more I open up to music. I mean, to music, open up to it. I realize I don't really know who I am. I'm in a constant change. So as a musician, I feel very open, and I want to be open. It's sometimes a little bit of a, can be take a lot of energy, but to not do it that way wouldn't be me. So that's my perception of who I am. I want to have the possibility to feel love and connection to the world and people and myself. And to be able to do that, I think one has to be open. And to be open, you have to work with that. It's difficult in the world today to go out and just be open. You have to have a little boundaries, of course, and stuff like that. But boundaries are really good. They make you open also if you do it the right way. And that's another story and a long discussion of how you can work with that. But I don't know if you got what I meant.
Yeah, I totally do. So if anyone wants to pick up the latest album, Adi Shakti, or they want to find out about live shows or anything else that you've done in your very illustrious career, where can people go?
To my website. And it's a little bit, it's not only like my name and a dot, blah, blah, blah. It's longer. So maybe you can put that on the website. Sure. Where they can go. So I think my website, if you put my website on your website, then people can go there. And then Spotify, of course, you can search for my name and see if you want to hear the music. And there you can find the 3 records I did. Yeah.
Perfect.
So
That's great. Vidya, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your story. Best of luck with the album and everything else. I'm looking forward to putting it on Neon Jazz.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. And what a great conversation this was. Thank you so much for that.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players and minds in Sweden, New York City, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to Vidya for her time, energy, and story. If you want to hear more Neon Jazz interviews, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to us at YouTube, and for everything Neon Jazz, go to theneonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.